Welcome back to the Restoration Group podcast, where we are often very silly, but we are always serious about investing in Oklahoma City leaders who desire to integrate their work into their faith. I'm your host, Clay Steves, and today I am joined by my co-host, Aaron Scott, and our guest, Bailey Wilson. Bailey is the founder of the popular food truck. It's very true. Like, we told people we were having this episode, and all of our employees are instantly like, oh yeah, of Bondi Bowls. Since they opened their window in June of 2020, Bailey and her team have franchised the food truck concept and now have 17 trucks across 8 states. 8 states. Man. A storefront in downtown Edmond, and 2 kiosks in Oklahoma sporting facilities. Bondi Bowls' core mission, this is so good, is to encourage God-honoring conversations while building community around healthy food. Bailey, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here. I'm excited.
I also just saw, sorry to add to that, I think I just saw today or yesterday you
Are we
posted.
dropping breaking news?
Well, don't worry, this doesn't release. Well, it's already on social media, so it's already out there. But you guys just opened in your first university, right?
Yes. Yeah, we're in
that's
UCO
exciting.
in the food court.
No
way. Yeah, very
Cool.
fun.
That
And then
is awesome.
congrats.
we also have a storefront in Alabama. That's a franchise one. So
Man, just taking over the
Doing
United
big
States of
things.
America.
we're trying
Bondi
to.
style. Come on now.
That's the goal.
Okay, so Bondi Bowls inspired from Bondi Beach?
Yes.
Yes?
In
Okay.
Australia,
In
yeah.
Australia. So let's, we're going to do something different in this episode. Have you been to Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're sitting around a table, 3 Oklahomans
had
here
to
together.
go.
think.
I
I was
said,
like,
you did. I was like, I think I know the answer,
Yes.
but you're looking at me like, no. Who have all been to Australia.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a little rapid fire for you.
Oh no.
There are no wrong
terrible
answers.
at these.
There's no
I feel
wrong
like there will
answer.
be.
So
There's
bad.
no wrong answer. This isn't like a
Rapid
quiz.
fire about what?
I feel like I'm more nervous
They're
with
all-
rapid fire than the
Well, see,
podcast
then
in general.
everything else will be easy. Everything else will be easy. Australian things.
Guys,
Australian
the
things.
context with which I was in Australia was probably very different than the two of you. And so I'm not going to be good at this.
That's fine. We'll see. Okay, here we go. Melbourne, Brisbane, or Sydney?
Of like favorite place.
Yeah,
Sydney.
Sydney. You? None
Didn't
of the
visit
above?
all those, but I did visit Brisbane. So by default.
By default, Brisbane. Good.
No,
good.
no
Yours?
offense.
Melbourne. Melbourne's my favorite.
Yeah, it looks nice on postcards.
It was great. Footy or rugby?
Footy.
She doesn't even know
very,
what it is.
very different context. Rugby.
Oh, footy.
Okay.
Okay.
You said there were no wrong
I
answers.
know. Well, that's you're right. Yeah, footy. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Crocodile Dundee or Finding Nemo?
Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo. Okay. Koala or kangaroo?
Koala. You have to
Oh,
answer.
oh, oh.
because-
Kangaroo. I
Yeah,
think.
it's on your shirt.
There's a
you
kangaroo
have-
on your shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said-
What was yours?
And a kangaroo.
Koala. I got
do like the koalas.
They're so soft.
Okay, but it's actually option C, wombat.
What? Yeah, Kirsten does love wombats. So
Yes.
she wanted one at one point. I was like, I can't buy you
I'm
a wombat.
so on board. Can she and I share it?
Yeah,
It goes
sure.
back and forth
Stays
to
at
our
your
houses.
house. Nope,
It goes
stays at
back
your
and
house.
forth.
Stays at your house. Okay. All the fun.
Okay,
but
whew,
let's
yeah,
go.
I was nervous too. I'm glad that's over.
Yeah, that was high anxiety.
Tell me the genesis story. Go back to the founding of Bondi Bowls and tell us that story, which obviously
Yeah.
has a genesis from Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I lived on Bondi Beach, which is in Sydney.
Come on now.
Explains my shirt. But yeah, I lived there for about 2 years. I graduated college and I was kind of at a point where there's so many right choices to make in life. And this is what I really tell my employees too, is that if you are following the Lord and you want to use your gifts for Him, there's no wrong answer when there are multiple options ahead of you.
Love that.
And so my big prayer was always, which one will bring the most glory to the Lord and use my gifts to the best of my ability that the Lord has given me. And so after a lot of prayer, I was planning to stay in LA, do marketing, which is what I studied. And I had this random idea to go to Australia. And I really just felt the Lord pushing me towards that random open door. So I moved there, no job, no place to live,
Come on.
nothing figured out.
Come on.
Hold up, you just up and moved to
I
Australia.
did. I bought a
Everyone
one-way
should
ticket.
at
That
some
is
point.
so
you know?
awesome.
Filled 2 suitcases to the brim, and I just went. Yeah, it stressed my family out. But I did some good savings during college, so I knew I would be stable for a couple months and moved there, plugged into a church, met some people, found a place to live. Found found some jobs to make it by, and I just went for it, and I loved it. And then I got an amazing job. I worked for a study abroad company. Anyway, I loved my time in Australia. I had no desire to leave. I really did feel like that was where the Lord had put me. Australia doesn't have a lot of Christians in the area, and if they are, they aren't very outspoken. So I just felt like I was doing a lot for the kingdom in my time in Australia. But COVID hit 2020, and the end of March, I had lost both of my jobs. I was living in a studio apartment with my best friend, and we were just like, what are we going to do? And then my dad called that he had found a tumor in his bladder, and our family is super close, and I'm the oldest sibling. I have a younger sister, and so for me, I just knew that I needed to be home with the family. So I flew out the next day, left everything in Australia. It's still in Australia 3 years later. My poor roommate. And
like it's still in her apartment?
Amazing. Yeah,
like
she still lives
has
there.
it?
She still got my furniture. She still got
That's
my extra
awesome.
suitcase of crap. So
She's wearing all your clothes. It's great. Yeah.
I saw her wearing my goggles. I bought goggles when I got scuba certified, and she was like scuba diving with them. And I was like, those are my goggles.
And she's like, well, come back and get
come back and get them, or I'm going to use them.
So I moved home to be home with Dad. I got here, and thankfully it was a non-invasive cancer with a normal life expectancy, which was such a praise and an answer to prayer. But now I was stuck in Oklahoma.
Ouch.
I'm surprised you got back. How did you even get back?
It was crazy. So they actually had final calls for international flights on Friday. My dad called me Wednesday, and so I took the last flight on Thursday. And I got here, and then I couldn't go back. So when Dad was okay, there was no me going back to my life that I had created in Australia. I was literally had no other place except for my parents' house in Arcadia, Oklahoma. And so I was depressed. I was moping around the house. I was angry with God. I was honestly angry that Dad was okay. I came home and he was fine. I didn't need to come home. And so I was moping around, but I was making these smoothie bowls for Dad because he's going through cancer treatments. He also is an ER doctor over the age of 60. And this was March of 2020 of COVID. We didn't know what we were dealing with. My mom had lost a friend that was her best friend to COVID. And so for us, we were just scared. We were heartbroken. We were going through a lot. And so I was fueling my dad with these smoothie bowls because of their antioxidants, their minerals, their vitamins. And we just wanted to take care of him as best as we could when he got home from work. And so every day I would have me and my sister and my mom, we would have all these new recipes. Different granolas, different brands of acai, different recipes that we would blend with, and we would present them to Dad of like, which one do you like the best? And he'd try them all. And so we had a lot of fun with it. And then one day my mom was on Facebook and she saw like these food trucks popping up in neighborhoods during COVID. And my mom is honestly an amazing entrepreneur as well. And she was like, why don't you get a food truck? Serve the local community, do the family you babysit's birthday parties, get by, give you something to do on the weekends so you're not depressed and moping around so much. And that's
not
all
an
I
entrepreneur.
needed.
That's a mom right there.
That's a mom.
She's just like, you gotta stop with the moping, okay? Like, you just come on.
So true.
Yeah.
She was tired of me. Yeah. I was like taking too many walks around the neighborhood. She was like, I'm tired of it.
Yeah, you gotta get out.
So I literally bought a food truck that weekend, which is a whole God story too, of how we got the truck that we got. I brought it home. Dad and I fixed it up in less than a month, and then we were open, hit the ground running, and
That's
the Lord
awesome.
blessed it from day one, honestly. So
That's awesome. I'm going to go back. I don't want to lose the momentum of that incredible story, but I also don't want us to miss the very first thing that you said on the front end there was like coming out of college was there were so many right choices that I could make. And I just don't want to lose that because I think you're so right that I feel like society puts so much pressure on young people to like make a decision, pick a major. And now you do, and I think
the college.
Honestly, I'm going to really step on some toes here, but I think especially in Christian culture, it's like, here's the roadmap for what you're supposed to do. And it's, you go here, you go to this kind of school, you do this, you graduate, you get married, you have kids, you get a career, you do the thing. And I feel like there's so much pressure, specifically in Christian culture to like, what's God calling you to do? What's the right thing? As if it's a binary, there's one right and one wrong, or one right and everything else is wrong. And I really loved your perspective on like, there are so many right choices because if we really believe that the Holy Spirit lives inside us, then he's going wherever we're going. Like, it doesn't mean that we can't make mistakes and falter and like all those things, but he's there, you know, he's not like abandoning us if we take if it's like, okay, if I move to Australia instead of do what my degree is, then God's going to forsake me or something. Exactly. It's like, there's so many right choices that I could take. I just love that so much. I didn't want to miss that. It's so good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So good.
My sister had a good friend when I was trying to pick what college to go to that said one of those lines. He's like, it doesn't matter what school you pick. It matters what you do with it. And it's just good, like what you do with wherever you end up, right? Taking the Holy Spirit with you, your choices along the way. That's what matters. Because if the Holy Spirit's with you, he'll guide. If it was not where you're supposed to be, it will be guided onto the spot and it will serve a purpose on the journey anyway. And so I think that's as a beautiful perspective. Well done on it. Yeah. I was also gleaning out the undesired and really challenging circumstances were actually the incubator and the space that then gave you even the opportunity to sift through the different recipes, to try the different things, right? Cool. So it was almost like those circumstances forced you into a scenario that then did birth what is now, again, as we said in the intro, thriving and expanding, et cetera. But it came from that kind of season. Did you feel any of that momentum as that's going on, or was it just happening in the moment?
You saw it.
Yeah, I would say I am a go-getter just in general. Okay. And so when I decided to turn what I was doing in my mom's kitchen and for my dad when he got home from work into something, I was like, I have to do it well though. And I want to do it to the best of my abilities. Kind of like what we were just talking about of like, I'm not just gonna, a big dilemma that me and my parents ran into at the very beginning before we opened was I really wanted to wrap the truck pink. And I wanted these beautiful little green flowers in my logo. And my parents, it was already this cute blue striped food truck. And they're like, just leave it. Just throw the wave and the Bondi Bowls on the blue stripes. It'll be fine. And I was like, no, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it well. And I want to love what I'm doing. And I want to love what I've produced and be excited to bring it to to the community. And so that was kind of like our big tip and a big moment for me too, as a leader and a business owner, to kind of put my foot down of like, I want to do my brand well and I want to do it to the best of my ability. Yeah. And so I would say yes and no. I wouldn't say that was like, I was going towards this, but I would say that I was working really hard at everything I was doing, and the Lord continued to bless that and turn it into something bigger than I could ever imagine it being.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you see, and this is your phrase, like even from the mission, how do you see healthy food as a convening power for God honoring convos and community?
Yeah. I would say that they're all three separate things.
Okay.
So, and that's what I say is that we're on a mission for three things. And one of them is encouraging God honoring conversation. How do we do that? With the people that are working at Bondi, with the culture that we're creating at Bondi. And that is so important to who we are. And so it starts with the middle. Who we are as an organization, our give backs, the way that we're serving our community, how we treat our customers, how we speak to each other even while we're working on the truck or in the stores. Like, it starts there on encouraging God honoring conversation and just being a strong culture and community. And then it's while building community, and that goes outside of our circle, and that's bringing in the right customers, engaging with them well and loving and treating them well. It's partnering with local businesses. It's showing up even when our generators are down or whatever it is. It's going above and beyond for the people that we're serving. And then the last one is, but serving a good product. And I think that I want to be a business where you know exactly what you're getting, and you're getting something that's good and clean and healthy for you, because that's where it all started. It started with me taking care of my dad and making sure that I was giving him the best product that I could. And so we don't have any refined sugars. We don't have preservatives. We make our granola in-house. We make our nut butters in-house, all that kind of stuff. And so we're really intentional with our product. And I think that the three of those things is what has made Bondi what it is today. So it's three separate things, but together they make Bondi what it is.
How is those three an overflow of God in you? And you've referenced the Lord multiple times, et cetera, in this, but I mean, how does he and your relationship with him influence those three different elements of the business?
I hope a lot, but I would say our verse is commit to the Lord and he will establish your plans. Proverbs 16:3. And that's all it is. It's just working hard and doing what you know and letting the Lord guide you. And I do a lot of things wrong. I'm sure there are multiple people that will come in and tell you what I've done wrong in the past, but with the Lord alongside him, he will establish and grow Bondi to what he wants it to be. And so I just get to be a vessel for this business, and what I'm doing, what I'm saying, how I treat my employees, how I treat my franchise owners, I pray that it is God honoring, but I mess up. But like what you were talking about even before we started this of Moses in the flame of like, I'm not capable of doing what I know that the Lord has potential for Bondi. He has big plans for Bondi, and I get to be the spokesman for it, but I am flawed. I don't have a lot to bring to the table. I have a business marketing degree and no experience in a corporate setting. But the Lord has brought in the right people. He's brought in the right owners, and he's surrounded us with a community that loves us even when we mess up. He's brought in the right employees that love me even when I mess up. I had to apologize to my employees yesterday. I snapped. I had a bad day, and I had to text them after and just say, I'm sorry I snapped. So I have bad days. I mess up. But I have to remind myself that I'm also a vessel, and what I do and how I treat everyone is important to growing Bondi, and this is the Lord's business, not my own. I just get to commit what I do, and he grows it from there.
That's good.
What would you say to a young entrepreneur who maybe wouldn't even call themselves that, who maybe just like has an idea, is passionate about something, wants to get started, has no idea where to start, what to do, and they're listening to your story and it's like, well, I don't think I can buy a food truck this weekend and like, you know, fix it up with my dad and like get going, because maybe that's not their thing, or maybe they don't have those resources or whatever their specific obstacles are. But what would you say to just a young person who has that desire but has no idea where to get started?
Well, I would say one, just do it. I feel like I say the Nike motto all the time.
Trying to get those royalties, trying to get Nike to pay something on that.
But the other thing is I have it as a sign in the back of my storefront, and it says life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and putting yourself in situations that aren't always easy. So I wouldn't say that the Lord just gave me Bondi because I made the right decisions in those times. It was, I really do think, a compound thing of what I had been doing in the past and allowing myself to be uncomfortable. Allowing myself, when I show my friends my vision and what I'm seeing and they say, Bailey, you're crazy. We're in the middle of COVID and you're to start a business. Businesses are failing. They're shutting their doors and you're going to open up your truck window. But instead taking that and be like, okay, that is honest feedback from the people that I love, but I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to allow myself to be uncomfortable no matter what happens. And so, yeah, I was even talking to one of my employees as they're navigating what's next in their life and they're wanting to take a big step, but they've never taken a step like that before. And I'm like, it starts little. Go to a church that you don't normally go to by yourself. Sit there, try to make a friend, get involved. Or just go and talk to someone and then get lunch plans after with a couple or a couple of people or people in your age. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable early so that when the big thing comes, you're ready and you're prepared and it's not as scary. I would say I get anxious every single time I do something crazy or hard, but because I've prepared myself and I know what that gut feeling is, but I also know that gut feeling is also the Holy Spirit saying go. And so just learning to practice that in small ways by going to the sand volleyball tournaments and signing up by yourself and connecting with people that you've never met before, or going to I tell them to go to the OKC Hot Girl Walk and go and meet someone new that they don't know.
You don't know about that.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I've never been invited.
Well,
I don't know. It's strange. No one asked me to go. I don't know.
Wednesday nights for all the OKC Hot Girls.
There it is.
But it's just so fun. And I went for the first time and I grew up here. So you would think, oh, there's 200 girls walking. I have to know a handful. I didn't know a single person.
Yeah.
And I had to be uncomfortable again. I went in confident that I would know someone. So I keep telling them, go and do stuff like that allow you to be uncomfortable so you can train yourself so that when the time comes, you know what that feeling means and you know how to overcome that feeling of being uncomfortable and not ready.
It's really good.
It is great stuff.
I would like to formally invite you to OKC Hot Girl Walk.
Thank you. I would like to, on record, decline the invite.
I'm very inclusive.
Are we good?
So
are we good?
Yeah. I've never been myself, but I follow it on Instagram. So
I learned about it at the office. You and another teammate talking about it. My leader, who's very gracious, talks about getting yourself familiar with those type of feelings.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that then allows you to start to do larger, riskier things.
Yeah.
Is because of the fact that you now have made yourself uncomfortable in the, honestly, it's a smaller thing. The risk isn't that great, but you begin to get familiar with that experience so that then the next time you're familiar with the experience, even if the magnitude is greater. So I think that's a beautiful way of what you just said there. Yeah. So thank you for that. Okay. So let's talk entrepreneur spirit. Bondi is a franchise model as you've expanded?
Yes, it's technically a license, but similar concept. Okay. So we license the rights for people to use our brand and know-how, and they have to follow specific rules. So we have quarterly quality control reports, things like that.
Yeah.
But it's a much smaller scale. So if you are a business that is wanting to take that next step but can't afford the franchising model, it's like the baby step to franchising. So we're currently in the process of turning it into a franchise.
So you don't call them franchisees right now. What do you call them? Licensees?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you are, you're vetting someone who applies, wants to be a licensee, wants to take your baby, wants to take Bondi Bowls, that is like your ethos, your passion born from you, and wants to control and run it in their space. What's the most important quality that you are looking for in that person? I know there's a list of things.
Yeah.
There's a lot, but which one to you is like a non-negotiable, has to be there in them if you're looking at this person?
I feel like the thing that I get from our first conversation when we're vetting is just the passion, the why. What makes them excited about this opportunity? Is it to bless the community? Is it to financially bless their families? What is driving them to do this business? And that for me tells me a lot. Honestly, I don't vet them off of that, but to me, that's what gets me excited for the possibility. I love that conversation. I love to understand their whys. And that makes me more excited to serve them, because as a franchisor or licensor, your main job, and I was talking to someone the other day about this, they're like, your job is not the business of Bondi. It's the business of serving people. Right. And so understanding people's whys and getting down to who they are makes it so much easier to serve them, because I want their families to be successful. I want their community to be blessed. I want to be able to be the hands and feet of the Lord with them. And so understanding the why gives me my passion to keep serving them. And that is what drives me. So that's the part I look forward to. But yeah, we have I have a franchise company that helps me, vet them all, and they have different requirements that are probably more important to them. But that's the part that gets me excited.
But I think that's an interesting transition that you had to make from when you first launched it. It's about, okay, I'm launching this business. My focus is my own why for this business. Yeah. And now that you have become a licensor. Look at me sounding so businessy.
That was awesome. That was good.
10 business points for me. But now you've had to transition into, you're more in the people business than the product business now. Yeah. And you have to be, because if you're still more focused on the product, it's not that you aren't, but if you're still in the product business, your people, could feel neglected or not taken care of, or could be not fitting the most important character qualities of what you're looking for in your business model. And so I think that's just an interesting transition. Yeah. Was there a time that you felt mentally oh, I'm recognizing that I'm moving into that? Or was it more just I happened upon it? How did that go for you?
Yeah, good question. The people business is hard.
People are a little messy.
It's the messier. No offense to anyone who leads a product business, but they probably have employees too.
They got people. It's not like it's them and
vendors and stuff.
Yes, you got people.
Are so much more difficult, and myself included. I know that I'm one of those difficult people. Yeah, this is my leader. He knows. Good gosh.
I don't know what she's talking about. Please. No comment on the record.
Right. And so you're right. They're messy.
Yeah. It is. It's harder. The people business is harder because the fact that my personal life affects how I treat my people. So like yesterday I had a really bad day, and that's why I had to have that apology moment of like, oh my gosh, I messed up. I treated you guys poorly. I snapped. And it was because honestly, I got a phone call 10 seconds before this and I just hung up and my heart was broken. And there's just like a lot of things that you like, if it was a product and I was making the smoothie bowl right then, it wouldn't have affected me as much. I might have like taken it out of my blender, but not the people. So I definitely think it's more difficult. I would say that the transition happened, I think, once we had like 3 or 4 franchises or licensees, and I realized, oh my gosh, I can't operate my food truck and take care of these people to the capacity that I want to, and the capacity that they need me to.
Yep, it is.
And I'm pretty OCD and type A, so I have like lists that I send to the owners, and they just follow the lists, which is such a blessing. But they still, the community aspect, the culture part of it. The first part of our mission statement is all about the people. The first 2 parts are. And so if we forget that and we focus more on the third part, then we're missing our entire, 2/3 of our mission. So, I think it was like a moment of like, okay, I have to bring people in to take care of my truck, so that I can step back and take care of the people that need me outside of the truck. So
it's good.
Yeah.
Did you come to that awareness on your own? Do you have somebody coaching you? Is it your experience with the licensees? Like, how are you? So you're take us to the season where you're gaining awareness on, what would you say? 4? You got 4 licensees and you're in that. How are you gaining awareness and processing how to function differently as a leader? Yeah,
I have incredible mentors, the most amazing mentors. And they are, I have 3 different aspects and people that I pull from. One here locally, he is a CEO of a business and incredible. He's done jobs all over the world. He worked for Disney and iTunes and Campbell's, and he's just incredible and super insightful and very people oriented. I also have this one out in California. I've never met him face to face. Actually, I don't even know what he looks like. We just email and phone call. And he's all business, all about the product, all about margins and ROI and all that kind of stuff. And then I have these 2 other men here locally that they are really good at like creating systems. How can we fine tune your systems? How can we make things easier? So thankfully I have these 3 very, very different mentors, but I get to I ask all of them the same question. And I get 3 very different answers. Good. And then I have to look at those answers and say, okay, which direction am I going in? Or is this a people problem? Is this a business problem, or is this a structural problem? And kind of just gleaning off of that. But yeah, they've helped me so much, and the Lord has put them in my lives, and they've never asked for a dime. They've all done it because they see something in Bondi and they want to help it grow and want to take it to the next level, and they're giving back. They're like, people poured into us and now we get to pour into others. And I just think that is so beautiful, and I've been so blessed by them. And so it makes me excited for the day that I get to the point where I'm not too focused on Bondi, that I get to then bless and pour out to other business owners in the same way that they've poured into me.
Very cool.
That's very cool.
We are big proponents of investing in outside coaching because it's hard to see. It's hard to see all the things when you're in it. When you're in the truck, in the conversation with an employee, it's hard to see all the things. So that's awesome that you are getting some outside insight for sure.
Yeah. I had two thoughts in that. One, I just want to encourage you too. They see something in you, not just in Bondi. Just that, I think that delineation as a leader, I can get lost in my businesses. I am them, they are me. And the truth is, I don't know any of these gentlemen or people, but I'm anticipating they see it in you. Yeah. And then you, I think it's cool how you are recognizing you get to do that with your licensees. So a way that, I know your hope is to be able to do it even more, but you're actually even getting to do it now in the business with those that you're serving and pouring into, which is just, it's really special.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's very true. Thank you.
Okay. Licensees. You love them all. I hope you all are listening. She loves all of you. You're all fantastic and awesome. Can you think of a story? So you talked about their why, their passions, that's what draws you into them. And you got to go through the business checklist and you got to look at the other factors, but their why is what inspires you to want to work with them. Can you think of one that you could share a story on of their why that's like, yeah, that's why I work with this person because they're incredible and I want, Do you have one of those?
Oh my gosh, I have so many of them.
Okay.
The most recent one that gets me just like so excited is our family out in Nashville. They are incredible, the most hardworking individuals. And their why was, I'm going to butcher the story to be honest, but they were like, we want to open this up. They were sitting in church and the church director was talking about how they wanted to bring food trucks in and they wanted to use that time the food trucks to donate to some adoption agencies and things like that. And they were just sitting there thinking about it and they're like, we want to be a part of that and we want it to be Bondi and we want to provide a space for the two of us to grow our marriage and serve the community and serve the church and serve the church people. And so they jumped in. The wife went full-time Bondi and the husband was part-time just kind of helping out because he still had his full-time job. And 4 months ago, he quit his full-time job and they're both full-time Bondi.
Wow.
And they just... it is so beautiful to talk to them and just hear the praises of this has been so good for our marriage. This has been so great for the two of us. And this is what we've got to do with our church. These are the people we've got to impact. These are the people we've got to change lives and tithe back to and give back to. And this is what it's doing for our community and for us. And every time I talk to them, I literally just like jump up and down. I'm like, this is what the Lord wanted. This is what he's doing. And, just watching also my owners give back. Like when something bad happens in their community, their first response is, how can I bring Bondi to bless the community? So like in Lubbock, a family member in their church, I can't remember if the wife passed or had cancer. And so they were doing a fundraiser and they immediately showed up. Bondi was the first one there and they gave all their proceeds, every single dollar back to that family.
That's awesome.
And just watching them see the why and use this business in order to grow the kingdom of the Lord and living out that mission. And so that's what fuels me. My favorite part is like getting those phone calls of, hey Bailey, this is what we're doing. And we're so excited to get to do this for our community. And like for me as corporate to get to jump into, okay, I'm going to tithe this much, or I want to give back in this way, or let me help finance you in this way, or buy you dinner or something like that. And so I love that part of it. But yeah, I've so many amazing stories.
So you were like jumping to answer that question before I even finished. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was good.
But yeah, I think I just have been talking with my Nashville family recently and just hearing how the Lord was in all of those little seasons to bring about where they are now, and just watching it all come to fruition, and then hear them talk about getting to live in the blessing of it. And there was a lot of pain, a lot of hurt to get there. I mean, owning your own business is not an easy task. Being an entrepreneur is not an easy task. And that's what all these people are. They're bringing Bondi to a community that's never heard of us. And so they're really starting from ground zero. And I just get to help them and give them my little knowledge that I have to get there. So watching them go through the struggles that I've gone through as well, and watching them come out of it has been so cool and just really exciting. So yeah, that's our latest one. Yeah.
What's your dream for Bondi 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now? I know that's asking a lot.
I have lots of big dreams. So
I'm not surprised. I love it.
My goal, I want to be the Chick-fil-A version of acai bowls.
Come on.
That's what I want. I want to be the fastest, most efficient, all over brand that people know and love and are loyal to. And so that's kind of like what I tell people when they ask me, like, where do you see this business going? Yeah. And I'm like, I want to be in everywhere. I want to be in every single state. 5 years from now, I hope to actually be using Bondi as a mission opportunity. I feel like I'm not allowed to technically share a lot of the stuff that we have in the plans, but there are plans to get to use Bondi and the impact that it's making here nationally in different places all over the world, and just watching the potential of that happen and be like, oh my gosh, that's because of the Lord. And getting to watch other people jump into this business in different avenues and be creative with it. And one of the ones that's going to be outside of the US, the guy that I've been working with, he was just like, we were talking about it, and I was like, honestly, I think the Lord gave me Bondi because he knows I'd be the one that would say yes to this situation, because I don't think a lot of people would. So I'm excited for where Bondi is going to continue to go, but yeah, I want to be everywhere. So we're opening a store in Dallas, Texas. It should be opened by December, and then Huntington Beach, California in the next 6 months. So
that's awesome.
Those are the baby steps.
Yeah.
And are you moving more to the storefront model in those places, or trucks, or what's that look like?
Yeah, so our trucks are incredible, and they help us understand the demographic and where to put things. So we have a truck in Dallas, and it's an amazing family and couple that are part-time in that area, and they have just like created such a good brand awareness. And so now getting to bring the storefront in to partner with the food truck so that on the weekends there's more brand awareness as well, but then they can also refer them to the storefront, and we can send out referrals to go book our food trucks. The Huntington one is where I did my undergrad. So I selfishly just want to go out there because my friends are out there, my college friends. But I also just would love to be on the beach. And I think that would also elevate the brand. It's a business answer. But so I think also putting the storefronts where we currently have food trucks, because food trucks are exhausting. It's an owner-operator situation. There is a high burnout rate. 2 to 3 years is probably the max. I gave it 2 years. I have one family that's given it 3. And they're probably going to always do the food trucks. They're incredible. But I think the storefront allows the owners to take a breath and like sit down, because you don't sit down in a food truck. So we're slowly making the transition, and that's why we're bringing in franchising, is because we're kind of elevating to that new model. But the food trucks always have my heart.
That's the food trucks always have your heart.
I love the Chick-fil-A of the acai bowl world. Like, I love it. That's so good.
Thank you. That's the goal.
Because you're right, Chick-fil-A, everybody knows it. Everybody's excited. Give me those waffle fries, my kids know Chick-fil-A.
Everyone knows Chick-fil-A.
That's a good indicator right there. When we drive by, Everett's like, he literally says chicken and fries every single time we drive by.
That's awesome.
We could have just eaten lunch and we drive by. He's like, chicken and fries? Like, yes, that's where they serve chicken and fries. No, we're not stopping.
So every time
I always stop.
Bondi logo, is he going to say acai?
Acai? I bet he would. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, on the website, this is what you get when you put stuff on the internet, right?
I know.
On the website, Bondi Bowls' mission is bigger than just serving clean and healthy meals. Each truck gives in a different ways. For the Wilsons, we give to local foster and adoption nonprofits. What's your why? Where's the passion come for local and foster and adoption organizations?
There's a lot of people in our family that are adopted and gone through the foster system of some sort or something like that. And that is the why, because my family wouldn't be my family without it. And I'm so grateful for it. My cousins are the most amazing people in the world, and I couldn't imagine my life without them. And getting to have them in my life even more. The 2 oldest moved in with my parents about 3 years ago, because when COVID hit, I needed employees, they needed a job, and California was shut down. So my cousins all live out in California, and they couldn't go to school, they couldn't do anything because of the situation. So in Oklahoma, they could go to school and they could get a job. And so they came and started this brand and this business with me. And so I just am so grateful for what adoption has done for us and the people that it's allowed the Lord to bring into my life. And, so yeah.
Each truck gives in different ways. What does gives mean? Like, what does that like? Do you donate a portion of money? Do you do events for them? Like, what does giving look like? Yeah.
So I don't require anyone to give anything. Like, all of my truck owners can make that decision on their own, but they all do it, which is like fills my cup to the brim.
It's half full. It's half full. And it's overflowing full.
Yes, full.
Yeah.
So Yeah, there's tons of different ways. So for me personally, at my storefront, we also give to the community in a lot of big ways. This past year, we were Philanthropic Business of the Year. Just because my employees are constantly giving back, we give back financially, we give back our product, we're donating it to the fire department, we're donating it to different businesses all over. And then my food trucks do the same. So they're popping up if they end an event and they've got some extra time, they're going off and donating leftovers to the community, whether that be the fire department, the police department, teachers, whatever it is, just going that extra mile with their product. And then as well as for me, I adopt a koala in Australia.
Hold on, one more time. Let's.
Yeah.
Hold on. Could you repeat that last statement? You adopt a what?
I adopt a koala. It's still in Australia.
Hold on.
And it's
Didn't she
so
choose a
cute.
kangaroo at the start of this
Hopefully
episode?
her koala isn't listening. If your koala is listening.
I just called it out because I'm just saying.
Busted.
Okay,
I love them
So
equally
good.
so
Tell
much.
me where to sign up to adopt a koala.
Yes.
Does it get to live with me at some point?
Saveakoala.com.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now you got to unpack this more.
I'm so excited.
You donate. Well, because actually in 2020 there were huge wildfires in Australia. And it like wiped out all of the forestry that they have. I mean, most of Australia is a desert. So what little forestry they have was completely wiped out by these forest fires. And that's where all the koalas live. So there are tons of koalas that are now in these endangered places that are just like burned up. And it's really sad. The photos are like absolutely heartbreaking because they can't move fast.
I can only imagine the music that plays behind these videos and photos of the koalas. It's definitely Sarah McLachlan, like from like the dog videos and stuff. Let's all now sing what song we think plays behind.
No.
Kyle, make me sound better on that.
He's like,
Okay, so
you just felt like funny tone when she's talking about koalas being burned, Aaron.
but I'm also the one who's probably going to sign up to
Well,
adopt one.
you are. You already.
Saveakoala.com.
She's over here on her phone. If you're not watching the video, she's on her phone. She's already adopted 3 koalas.
You know it's going to be
This
the
is
office
unbelievable.
koala.
She
My
just
dad
adopted.
comes to the office, so now my koala is going to come to the
there you
office.
go. Yeah, so they give you a picture and they give you updates.
Stop
So
it.
like my koala is getting a little ornery and kind of being mean to the other koalas.
You said that was awesome.
What's your koala's name?
I have like 3 koalas. Kalani is my favorite. He is the cutest one. He's the one that's ornery right now. But I blank on the other 2. They're very like beautiful names that I'm not very good at pronouncing. Very most of them are indigenous.
Aboriginal
Your
names, yeah,
koalas
indigenous names, yeah,
ever?
You could, yes. You can go to Australia and meet them. So when I was there, I went to several like wildlife sanctuaries and saw like endangered koalas. And I actually adopted one of the endangered koalas that I saw for my sister before we even started bonding when I was still living in Australia because she loves animals. But since then I go through a different program that's in Brisbane actually, which the one that I had hung out with was in Sydney. But
Wow, I am so derailed right now.
I know.
But
I know.
all I can
A
picture in my
much-needed
mind
tangent.
is an office koala. Like,
Yeah.
my brain can't go anywhere
you
else
have
right
to,
now.
yeah, and you get a little
we
save
have
the
to?
koala
Bailey,
sticker.
stop.
You get a
So
save the
cute.
koala sticker. It's only like $45 or something like that. I can't remember.
Is
It's
it
not
tax
bad.
deductible?
It is tax deductible.
We can do this as a business.
It's a great expense. Yep.
And
Save
this
the
is how it
koalas.
happens. This is how it goes down at our place. Yes.
If we want to be a unique business, what's more unique than having an office koala?
Bondi Bowls
Yeah.
is already doing it. They're already. She's
You
already
can
got
do
like
it too.
42 koalas at every licensee.
Don't deflect.
But yeah, all
Don't
of our truck
deflect.
owners do adopt a koala, which I think is so
All the truck
cute.
owners adopt a koala.
This is
Like,
so good.
This is
They're
what I'm getting
so
Copeland
cute.
for Christmas. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, my youngest son is obsessed with
Get a little
animals.
stuffed animal koala, and then a little like they give you a little sheet of paper, and it's so cute.
And a Bondi Bowl.
Yeah,
to go
there
with
you
it.
go.
So many things.
great present.
There it is. Wow.
both sang at some point.
I don't even know where to go from there. This is so good.
That's amazing. We were talking about giving back.
Yeah.
But I think the beauty of that, you talked about how the numerous examples, including koalas that we're adopting, but the numerous examples in that you don't mandate it, but everybody does it.
Yeah. That's my favorite part.
That is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
It speaks to the culture of the business,
That-
which I am very biased towards saying might be more important than the business side of business.
100%.
Just saying.
I think people return I think we have an amazing product, that it's aesthetically pleasing and a cute pink food truck. And that's why people show up the first time. But I think they come back for the people. I think they also come back because we have an amazing product. I think our product's the best, but they come back because they interacted with our owners. They engaged with the people. Our trucks, we normally have someone outside taking orders, and that's so abnormal for a food truck. That's an extra wage that you just have someone standing outside. But now you're not, hi, what can I get for you? And then take your money and slam the window shut. They're out there engaging with you. They're telling the Bondi story. They're talking with you. They're answering questions, and it just creates that culture and community aspect. And I think that's why people keep coming back, is for our people.
It's really good for sure.
And I think it's the experience, which is the combination of the culture and the product. Because I mean, you're not going to diminish your product. It's fantastic, but it's that combination that they get of both of those pieces together. Yeah, that's awesome.
On a personal side note, last fall you guys did some sort of fall thing.
Oh, the pumpkin spice
There
bowl?
it is. Yeah, it was good because I like pumpkin spice is like everywhere in the fall. I don't drink coffee, so it's like kind of irrelevant for me.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael loves pumpkin. I bet he would like this bowl too. And it had
Is it coming back?
Yeah, it's coming
it
back.
had
Fall
like
2023?
apples,
Fall
I think,
It's
and like,
October, our bowl of the month for October and November, because it's so popular. Everyone loves it.
dude, it was real
so
good.
we do it for 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's your favorite
This
bowl?
month-
Can you have a favorite?
Actually, yeah. So my birthday is in September. So our September bowl of the month is Bondi Bailey's birthday bowl.
Oh, wow.
Bondi Bailey's birthday bowl.
Yeah. It's a fun one. So it's half acai, half pitaya, because I'm too indecisive. I love them both. And then it's our homemade vegan granola, and then topped with strawberries, bananas, and blueberries, and then our homemade peanut butter, and then Nutella, because I love chocolate.
Come on.
Sounds fantastic.
It's so good.
Does sound good.
September on the way.
So September, Bondi Bailey's birthday bowl.
Bondi
fun to
Bailey's
say.
birthday bowl. This has been fun. Thank you, Bailey.
Of
This
course.
is awesome.
Thanks for having me.
You are an inspiration, truly. Like your vision, your leadership, the company you've built, actually the culture you've built, all of the above. It is inspiring. So thank you, and your heart for the Lord to do it all just for His glory is awesome. So thank you for sharing with us. Do you have any final thoughts you want to, besides the koala?
I mean,
I knew she was going there. You see that?
I was going to wait till after we cut. Okay. But since you brought it up, okay. No, congrats. And we are excited to cheer you on to the next 5 and 10 and world domination of Bondi Bowls.
That's right.
But seriously, excited to cheer you on. Local businesses from right here in Oklahoma City. We're really excited to cheer you on and watch your passion, vision. And I will say, spoiler to our listeners and viewers, beforehand, Bailey said that something that would feel like a win for her in this time is to inspire the listeners.
I was.
And feels like 10 out of 10. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
we're really thankful to have had this time with you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Ahead of
joining
us.
us. You
Of
did?
course.
Great.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
To all of our viewers and listeners, thank you for joining us this week. And until next week, choose life. Thank you for tuning in. To find out more about how Restoration Group can serve you or your business, click the link in the show notes below or go to restorationgroup.co.